welcome back. You are listening to Realty Resource Radio with Greg and Lori Swearingen.
Our next guest has been working residential building and home inspections for over 20 years. His company was voted as having the top home inspection company in North America and Canada in 2013 by over 300 other inspection companies. He's been the owner of his company for 22 years. When we saw his work, we contacted him immediately. He has a 200% satisfaction guarantee.
Wow.
His company is the best in the business, and we are very happy he could take time to be with us on the radio show. Jerry Linkhorn, owner of Linkhorn Inspections. Jerry, I got to tell you, when people think home inspections, I know how it is. I've been living in my house. I love my house. My house is great. What do you mean? I've got a home inspector coming to look at my house.
There's nothing wrong with this house.
Yeah, he doesn't need to inspect my house. It's great house. What really goes on in a home inspection? Can you tell us what kind of things you do as a home inspector so that maybe people aren't quite as apprehensive to having you there?
Yeah, see, a lot of people think, especially the sellers, that we come into a home and they've been in there for 15 years and they don't know, what's behind the walls, what's up in the attics. They haven't been on their roof. So when we do a home inspection, it's just like getting a physical examination. And we start on the outside and get on the roof. We're looking for any wood rot around windows, leaks in the roofs, flashing issues. And then we go in the house and we're inspecting the windows, the doors, the outlets, the bathroom, the plumbing. We get up in the attics. We find a lot of issues up in the attics. Sometimes it's mold, sometimes it's not. But if you've got bird's nest, things like that, we can detect that, and leaks as well.
You can spot the little critters that have snuck in sometimes?
Yep, absolutely. Sometimes we don't like to look at them face to face.
I would not want to meet a mad raccoon.
Yeah, I've seen a raccoon once or twice. So,
oh my.
But yeah, that can be kind of scary. And then the kitchen appliances, all the kitchen cabinets, things like that. And then we finish up in the basement. That's usually where all your main components are, as far as your electrical panel, your furnace, your hot water heater. It's where the gas shutoff is, your water shutoff. So we like to explain to the clients, how to work all these different things.
What makes a good home inspector? Because there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. First and foremost, you have to be able to read the clients because everybody has a different personality. So, if we go to a house and we've got a first-time buyer and they're not familiar with how these components work, so we spend time and we like to explain to them how they work. But then you can get another client that could be a first-time buyer and they're handy. They know about all these different things and how they operate. So you have to be able to let them know what to expect on a home inspection and to set their expectations, because a lot
not
of times,
scare them half to death necessarily.
Yeah. And if you see a problem, anything can be fixed, and that's the problem with some people is that you don't want the inspector that's going to go in there and sees a foundation wall that's cracked, and he's going to say, oh my gosh, this thing's going to fall down.
Well, and that happens. And recently I had a seller that had some kitchen appliances that the home inspector, they were 3 years old, and the home inspector said, and it wasn't your company, said, they said, oh, those are nearing their life expectancy. And so I see that phrase a lot.
Are people trained to actually say that?
Because you have to be careful, because you don't want to get, how alarmed should someone
I hope
be
that 3-year-old stove is not nearing life expectancy.
Yeah, that's not nearing its life. And the other thing too is, the thing that we see the most for lacking maintenance would be a furnace and air conditioner. And these things need to be checked out every year. It's kind of like getting your oil changed in your car every 3 to 5,000 miles. So if we see a furnace that is maybe 20 years old, it's never been serviced, it's probably going to look like it.
Sure.
But I saw a house back in 2009 that was installed in 1975, and it had stickers wrapped all the way around the furnace, and it had been serviced since 1975.
Wow, so that's a good
Lucky
sign.
if that thing was running.
Well, they have it serviced.
They had it serviced every year, and the thing looked like it was 5 years old. So if you keep these things maintained like they're supposed to, they're going to last twice as long, and they're going to run more efficient as well.
Well, that saves you money.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I keep telling you we need to empty our water heater.
Yes.
Actually, I have on my website.
And change the air filter on my furnace.
Yeah, our website, we have do-it-yourself videos, and you can actually go to the website and have him do this. And one of the things on our website is how to drain a hot water heater.
That's pretty cool.
What is that website?
Yeah.
It's www.linkhorninspections.com.
Great, and we'll have that, of course, on Realty Resource Radio, a link to it as well. Another question I have is, okay, this is a sticky question.
Uh-oh.
Should realtors and or a seller, like, what's your feeling on them being present when the buyer's having a home inspection? Because I've literally had people show up and my sellers didn't want to leave the house because they, were worried that they didn't trust people, strangers in their house. They'd had things taken in a previous home sale, so they were nervous. So they were like, no, we're staying. And the buyer almost walked from the deal because of it.
Yeah, it is a sticky situation. And, some cases, if somebody works from home, we understand that. A lot of times they'll just stay in their home office and work, and that's not a problem. And when we have to inspect that room, we just let them know. But when we have a home inspection, it's kind of like a showing. So the actual sellers should leave.
Right.
And I teach a 3-hour CE class, and it's one of the topics I talk about. Is just to make sure the sellers are aware that there's going to be a home inspection, and they're not
Surprised?
Yeah.
Well, I get them.
Shouldn't
I've had it
present.
where they've asked me to, like, I tell them this and they say, no, we want to stay. And at that point, I think the best thing to do is to contact the other agent and let them know, or if you're representing both clients, work it out before the situation happens.
No, you're exactly right. And then the other thing too is if you can communicate, both agents, and just to let, if you're a buyer's agent,
Right.
Just to let you know, so you can let the buyer know, so that you're prepared. Me as a home inspector, I'm prepared, so everybody knows going into it that they are going to be there.
What's your feeling on whether a realtor should be present or not? I have mixed feelings on that.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, sometimes we have them show up, sometimes we don't. But when they are there, they're only usually there for about 30 minutes.
Would you think it makes us liable if we're there?
No, personally, I don't. I mean, I'm going to do my job whether you're there or not, and I'm not
Okay.
going to favor, because you
want
might
the
have
deal to
referred
happen.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's good. That's good to hear because
know.
I think that's kind of one of the fears people
yeah.
have.
And we're working for the buyer anyway, so.
Yeah. Now you were talking about wildlife in the
In the attic?
in the I'm sorry,
Little raccoons?
Well, yeah, I have a
they're
friend
cute.
that just recently on Facebook told me she works for a critter control company, and she said if she ever buys another house, not only is she going to have a home inspector, but she's going to have a wildlife inspector because supposedly these people bought this house and 2 years later they ended up having all kinds of damage that the home inspector didn't find because he didn't know what to look for.
That's funny you mentioned that because this is not script either. We actually did a home inspection a couple years ago, and Critter Control was at the home inspection, and he was looking for a raccoon because he had trapped one earlier, I think the day before, and he said there's more in here. Well, he had this listening
There's
device,
more.
yeah, and on the wall, and I said, well, what are you looking for? He said, I'm looking for a raccoon. I said, I'll help you out. Well, we all have infrared cameras.
Oh, wow.
So we were able to locate the raccoon because of the heat from the infrared camera, and he called these sellers to say, hey, we need to cut into your ceiling to get this raccoon. We have your permission. They said, yeah, and he pulled out 2 baby raccoons.
So you can
Oh
see
my
the
gosh.
raccoons through like the drywall in the ceiling.
Yep, because of the heat that they radiate.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Jared, I mean, how do people reach you? You already gave us your website. Is that the best way for them to reach you, or do you prefer phone call?
They can go to the website and they can click a button on there that says schedule a home inspection, or they can call us. The best way to be would be to call us.
And what's that number?
That's 614-260-1776.
And can you repeat again the website? Was it Linkhorn Home Inspections?
It's linkhorninspections.com.
Linkhorninspections.com. Great.
We've got drones coming up that we're going to be talking about, and I also heard something about infrared cameras. This is getting pretty high tech here.
Yep, state of the art.
Yeah, you want to stay listening to Realty Resource Radio. If you want to win a $50 gift certificate, go to our website realtyresourceradio.com and win a $50 gift certificate to Caribbean Jerks Island Bar and Grill. Jerry, can you give us a little idea of what kind of cost is involved here just for a home inspection, maybe for radon, mold, pests, maybe you do a number of things. What kind of cost would somebody be looking at? Because I know I really want to refer people to use you to get a home inspection before they even sell the house, before they even put it on the market, because I want them to know ahead. Everybody's getting home inspections these days, so if you're a seller, you might as well get it done up front and find out what's wrong with your
Right.
house, because you're going to be coming in anyways. So can you provide an idea of cost for people on what these different things run?
So basically on a house from 1,800 to 2,500 square feet, you're talking $305 to $345. But that does not include the additional services, which your radon is going to be, on the low end could be $80, on the high end could be $150. A termite's going to be about $50 to $75. There's a well inspection, that'll be about $75, give or take $10. Same thing for a septic inspection. Mold, our company does mold with an inspection, it's $199. Without an inspection, it's $299. But
So you get a price break in there if they're
If
already
it's- yeah,
doing
if we're-
other work.
yep. But we can do meth lab testing. That's $299.
That's if, like, was there a meth lab at this
Right.
house?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's good to know.
I've never even thought
Kind
of
of
that.
sad that we have to think about that. but-
Yeah, we don't do a whole lot of those, but we are a full service inspection company. So the only thing that we don't do is lead-based paint.
Okay. That's
So,
good.
so with the, tell me about the meth lab. Does the government hire you or somebody? I mean, who?
No, the buyer.
Who's
just-
wondering?
The buyer.
The buyer.
Who's
yeah.
wondering?
Maybe investors or just anybody. Huh?
Well, the last one we had was a house that was actually in a higher end neighborhood, and the guy that lived in the house was kicked out and thrown in jail because he was a
Dealer?
He was doing drugs.
Oh,
and
wow.
It ended up coming back false. So you're not going to find meth in a high end house anyway. You're gonna
Right.
You're gonna find it in the inner cities.
So
Sure.
false would mean it was safe to live there.
Or way out in the
Correct.
country.
Right? Yeah, correct. False would be safe to live in.
Well, I've got to tell you, I'm definitely recommending your service again for anybody who is going to put their house on the market ahead of time, because you're going to find the problems well in advance. You don't want to be surprised after someone's already made an offer on your house and you're in this negotiation stage. It's a really bad place to be. And we've seen it where if you've already had the home inspection, you just provide the home inspection, and the buyer's like, "Wow, this is great," And
Yeah,
it
it's,
is so much smoother.
Yeah, and we do have a pre-listing inspection package that we do. What's actually more popular than the pre-listing inspection is the pre-listing consultation. It's a little bit cheaper. We do a full inspection, but there's no report.
Okay.
Now, the pre-listing home inspection, there's actually a hard copy of the report. So the difference is, one, you got a hard copy, the other one you don't. So, but you're right, though, at the 11th hour, everything's going smooth, and all of a sudden the home inspector is going to find something, and now the house doesn't close.
Right.
The buyers are walking because it's something major. But if you know going into it, you can be proactive and you can fix things.
And what does that cost real quick for?
The pre-listed inspection is $50 more for us. Because we make 3 trips, but the consultation's about $250.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We've got coming up some more talk with Jerry, and drones and other high-tech gear coming up. You've got to hear this. This is just incredible. You can find us on realtyresourceradio.com.